be cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains, I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things, gonna make a fucking name. I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame. No, I'm not that vain, I just wanna be greatness. 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 Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. Okay, I'm going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent, and it's only a percent. I'm gonna take shots, if I miss all, forget it. I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it. I never back up, I don't miss a thing or regret it. I'm always learning, you could call me academic. I'm always working, never been apathetic. Bad energy is like a poison, needs some antiseptic. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking fight me. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. I'll be cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains, I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things, gonna make a fucking name. I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame. No, I'm not that vain, I just wanna be greatness. 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 Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. Okay, I'm going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent, And it's only a percent. I'm gonna take shots. If I miss all, forget it. I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it. I never back up, I don't miss a thing or regret it. I'm always learning, you could call me academic. I'm always working, never been apathetic. Bad energy is like a poison, needs some antiseptic. Ain't no motherfucker in this world can do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself and my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate, bitch, you can fucking fight me. Ain't no motherfucker in this world can do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself and my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. Ain't no motherfucker in this world can do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself. Ain't no motherfucker in this world can do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself and my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. I'll be cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane. Making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains. I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things. Gonna make a fucking name, I just wanna be famous. But I don't want that cheap fame, no I'm not that vain. I just wanna be greatness. 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 Ain't no motherfucker in this world can do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself and my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. Okay, I'm going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent. And it's only a percent. I'm gonna take shots. If I miss all, forget it. I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it. I never back up, I don't miss a thing or regret it. I'm always learning, you could call me academic. I'm always working.
Well, nobody showed up, so I figured I'd just get on here. Maybe I'll leave this up, and people can get update if they give a fuck. There might be 2 people. That might be it. Whatever. Well, the thing is, I just been letting shit get to me too much lately. I gotta fight back. What the fuck's on my ceiling? I know I got distracted like an idiot. Or is that on my screen? Okay, never mind. Never mind, it was on my screen. There was something on my screen and in the OBS it looked like it was on the ceiling. That's kind of my life. Don't know what's going on. At the end of the day, I just gotta pull my shit together. Generally, I've been pretty good in life at pulling my shit together, but lately, because of everything that's happened, and like, I know I'm making fucking excuses here, don't get me wrong, but some of my excuses they feel like they're justifiable, at least in my head. I'm not like, oh, my girlfriend broke up with me, I can't go on, or nothing bullshit like that. Well, it ain't like I had a girlfriend, but anybody that knows going through all my physical injuries, dealing with lawyers, trying to get all my shit. Damn, this is loud. Let me turn. Wait, let me turn. Oh, maybe I need to turn it down here. That might be it. Okay, it seemed like maybe it was a little loud. I apologize for that. But with everything I got going on, and then I mean, it's been almost 3 months now since my mom passed away, and that was some hard shit to deal with. I know it's something that if anybody has had that happen, this is, well, now both my parents are gone. My dad died when I was a little kid. I guess it was second grade. Was it second grade? Yeah, it had to be past second grade, but it might have been third grade when he died. It's been so long ago. The only way I can think of it is in my basing it off what grade I was in school. Normally I could ask my mom, but no, my mom is now dead. So I'm pretty much all alone. I have like one kind of family member that like is still in my life, but they have their own problems. Like this isn't any attack on them or anything. They got their own shit to deal with. Don't get me wrong, right? And all that kind of stuff. So it is what it is, right? And to be honest, since all my shit and I hadn't been working, so I've been kind of isolated. So I have a couple of good friends that I still talk to, but they also have their own problems. So I don't have like anybody like I can turn to or be like a rock to like knock me back together except for myself, which is something that I kind of, developed over time and I was usually pretty good at, and I can kind of get moved on to different stuff and, get your life back on track and shit. Everybody has setbacks, right? But lately, it's just been like, I can't, like, I'll wake up and I'll try to motivate myself, and I'll tell myself, you got to get together and you got to get this shit done. And then the day comes, and then I'm like, fuck it, I'd rather just not deal with it. That's the worst thing about a lot of this shit, And before, it was actually I don't know why it peaked there. Sorry, I'm watching the screen too much. And like, so I was doing my physical therapy, so I kind of had that, and I was actually going outside and interacting with people there and everything like that. So that was all fine and dandy. That was all fine. What the fuck? This can't need to be turned down that much, can it? Can it? Then it's probably too quiet. I don't know. Maybe I got too close. It's not peaking now. Maybe I got it set right. Sorry. It was just bothering me. So, yeah, that was like different. So now it's just kind of like, I watch YouTube or whatever, and I talk to my one friend a lot, but they got their own problems. So, like, yeah, so I don't have any kind of like stability in my life right this minute. I know this might sound harsh, but I'm not saying I'm glad my mom died, but my mom was pretty sick there at the end. So knowing that at least she's not suffering or anything anymore, that does kind of bring me a little peace. I don't know if anybody's experienced this. I did talk to one of my other friends that had a similar thing with his dad passing. So he really understood. So that was good and that helped. But he's got his own family and his own life. So it's not like I can reach out to him all the time and everything like that. So everything just kind of gets bogged down, and like I just cannot for the love of me find the motivation, like, and I just can't. And every fucking time I just feel like I just need some small thing to kind of catch a break, and then I don't get it right. I'm like, okay, if I can get this lawsuit, I'm not going to talk about that shit too much, but if I could get the lawsuit done, like that would be like a little weight off my shoulders, give me a little room to breathe, and I would be like, okay, cool, something good happened. Hey, what's up? And I was already talking about shit, but like, but yeah, so then it's been a fucking mess dealing with that shit. It's been a fucking mess, right? So yeah, you might know this, but I'll just go ahead and reveal it, say it again. So I was supposed to have like what they call mediation in June. It was scheduled in June, right? It was scheduled, right? It was already scheduled. I was all like, cool, cool. We'll get this shit done. You know, we can move on with it, right? Um, then they're like, oh, they want you to go see another doctor about your eye, right? Then come to find out, I got an appointment scheduled. I never scheduled it, nothing. It just popped up on my thing. So I told them and I went. It turns out it wasn't even the right one. And so the opposing people are like, they don't want to move on until I see this, and they've been trying and trying and trying and everything else. And I'm like, this is bullshit. Y'all had 2 fucking years to do this, or maybe not 2 years in this because this was about my eye, but like they had enough time where they could have brought this shit out, right? Um, and I told my lawyers this shit. They don't seem to think that there's anything they can do, which kind of pisses me off a little bit. But I do know, like, when it comes to this shit, you got to kind of play ball, unfortunately. So when I talked to my one lawyer, he said, look, at the end of the day, I think it's best that we try because, you know, this is like a one-time thing. So like I'm trying this doesn't sound, I'm not trying to sound greedy here, but I'm trying to get the most out of it I can, right? So the lawyer says it's the best decision. That's why you hire a fucking lawyer, right? And so I'm like, okay. And then I do all this, I don't hear nothing, and I'm just like, whatever, my mom passes. So then I got all this shit. So I don't feel like trying to contact a lawyer and deal with all this shit, right? So then they finally contact me, and they're all like, blah, 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 and this and this. Turns out the lawyer who was representing me, he no longer works there, right? So they're like, oh, we get you another, we change your schedule to a different lawyer that works there, and they were like, oh, he's like a higher up lawyer or whatever, like he's in charge of like the whole division or some bullshit like that. And I'm like, okay, well, did he tell you any of this stuff? They seem like, oh, they didn't know what the fuck was going on, right? So then eventually, like, they say they want to get this other opinion from this doctor and all. I'm like, okay, tell them if I can get it scheduled. And eventually I talked to the lawyer. He kind of pissed me off. I'm going to be fucking real with you. Like, the way he acted, and like, when he called me, he was like, I couldn't even barely hear him. He had all this shit going on in the background. I'm like, dude, this seems unprofessional. And then he asked me something, and I'm not going to get into specifics. And so I told him this, and then he's like, I'm not trying to argue with you here. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm not trying to argue with you. You asked me a fucking question, and I gave you an answer. And I tried to explain my side of it, right? Shouldn't you be on my fucking side? It seems like you're arguing against me. And then he just kept coming up with excuses, and then it kind of pissed me off. So they're like, well, we're going to give them this amount of time to get this thing scheduled, right? And if they don't, we're going to push forward. I'm like, okay, sounds good. I agree. I was like, but haven't they had enough time? Is there not like any kind of like rules of engagement or like, hey, because I know in like criminal law, like you have a certain amount of time to do shit, right? This is civil, so I don't know. The things are different, right? And so he was like, blah, 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 and then we're going to do this. So then I get a text like, I don't know, the other day, and they're like, we scheduled your mediation, and then the person texted whatever day it was, like 1/21/22, and so I texted her back, do you mean 11/21/22, or do you mean 1/21/23, right? And then so she's like, oh, January, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's September. That's almost 4 fucking months away. Plus, add in, it's been June, July, August. It's been 3 months pretty much since I was supposed to have it originally. So I'm like, what the fucking fuck, right? You know? And because I just haven't had anything to get off of my back, except the worst thing is like my mom, you know, worrying about her now that she doesn't have to suffer anything anymore. That's kind of off my back. I know that sounds fucking horrible, but anybody that's had like, if anybody has had to deal with like taking care of like a loved one when they're sick or worrying about them and all this shit, it's always going to kind of, because one of my other friends had a similar thing. Their parent passed away after they had dementia and they were taking care of them and all that shit. What up, Robert? And so it's kind of a little bit off your back, right? But it's like the worst kind of shit off your back. You know what I'm saying? It would be like if they came to me and they said, "Hey, Roy, we're going to cut your foot off, and that's going to, then that way you don't have any more pain in your foot, right?" And and I'm not trying to exaggerate the pain in my foot. It's a weird kind of thing, like, because it's there. It's not like pain all the time or nothing like that, but it's a weird feeling. So sometimes I'll be trying, and it's worse sometimes when I try to go to sleep. So I'm like, man, I almost wish they just cut my fucking foot off. That way I wouldn't feel it, right? So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we can solve the problem, but the solution isn't a very good solution, you know? Because then there would probably be more shit. So yeah, my mom dying was a little bit off of me, and the fact that I didn't have to worry about her suffering anymore, and I had to worry about, like, if I left the house, if something happened while I was gone, stuff like that, right? But you don't want your mom to die. So then you get a whole nother thing, you know? And just not catching a break with any other thing. Then add in my dumb ass got so fucked up, I decided to start smoking again. And while that in my head is like brings me some sort of joy, it's not a good kind of joy. You know what I'm saying? Like, luckily I was never like a hard drug addict or some shit, or I'd be back like sucking dick for meth or whatever the fuck you do, right? So luckily that's not the case, right? So then all the stress, all the depression, all that other shit, that just makes everything else harder on top of my own physical shit. Like, I think if I didn't have the physical shit, I think it would be easier for me to get past the like depression and stress and shit, right? Because I'm not, there's people way worse off than me, like mobility and shit like that. Don't get me wrong. But like when I do stuff, it's harder on me afterwards. Yeah, and I think, and then you're right, I do. That's what I was hoping for. And I thought like, hey, if I get this money, if I get something, whatever, okay, then I can go from there. So I almost blame myself, which is even worse because I'm all like, I shouldn't have put my eggs in that basket. I should have been trying to move forward sooner, right? But about the time I was actually filling up to moving sooner, that's when Mama got sick. And then, so that brings me back down. And I'm like, fuck, and not blaming my mom or anything like that. So then it's like, I feel like it dug me back. And then I almost think I might have dug myself even deeper. And then I'm all like, okay, maybe we'll get this done. Maybe we'll get this done. So I'm thinking like, I just need something. And I think that was my problem. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have been like, I need something. Like, I do, but I got to get out of that mindset of thinking that. Because if not, I'm just going to keep until I'm like, I'm homeless or some shit. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And some days are better than others, though, bro. Like, I'll get up. I feel like I'm going to go tackle the world, right? And then some days I don't even feel like getting out of bed, like, at all. Excuse me. And it just sucks. And then because of how my brain works sometimes, I'll dig myself deeper because I'll be like, man, you fucking pussy ass bitch, you need to get your shit together, right? And usually that used to work, but now it doesn't. It does not work as much as it used to. Because like I said earlier, I don't know if anybody was in here, I was all like, I'll tell myself, like, I'll be like, tomorrow we're gonna figure this shit out, we're gonna get something done. Then I'll wake up and it'll just, all that motivation will be gone and I'll just waste my whole day away. Like, I'll look up and it's 2 o'clock here now. I'll look up and it'll be like 8 o'clock at night and I'll be like, what the fuck? You know? And then like, and the only thing that's going to motivate me is I really literally have no choice on the matter. Like, there's nothing I can realistically do. Like, I can't keep going on this way. And that's how I always acted before. And I would get on because I'm like, fuck it, you got to do it. It doesn't matter how bad. Now I keep stressing over in my head, like, I'm going to have to do shit. It's going to be worse. And it's going to be worse. 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 So this whole fucking thing has ruined my entire fucking life. Not that I had the greatest life, but honestly, where I was at 2 years ago before the accident, except from smoke, I was still smoking then, which I should, that would be a negative, right? But, back then, I mean, mom was older, but I didn't think there was anything wrong with her or nothing like that. It didn't seem like it, right? My health wasn't like, like superstar level or nothing, but I could get around. Walking up and down the steps, I could go up and down the steps. Like, I was strong, pick up stuff, I could do stuff, I could work. Didn't necessarily like working all the time or doing the work I did. Well, some days it was like everything. Like, I didn't hate it, but some days you do. But I was financially pretty good. I was making pretty okay money, and mom, she helped out too. Like, I wasn't living off my mom, but like we kind of shared shit, so we lived together. And so like financially, I was pretty stable. I had like everything, after I paid all the bills and shit were paid each month. At that point, I was pretty stable. I had like $5,000 or $6,000 left in the bank. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't living like I paid all my bills and I got $20. You know what I'm saying? I still had money, a decent amount of money, at least to me, afterwards. And I think sometimes it would go up a little bit because I didn't go buck wild with everything, right? So, had the crash. Luckily, they were paying me because of the workman's comp and all that shit. So I was still getting but it wasn't the same amount as if I'd have been working, right? Plus, where I worked, I got bonuses based on like production and different metrics, right? So they weren't counting any of that in. And they did the GoFundMe for me, and I had that. So at the time, I was like, okay, I'm good. Like, I don't have to worry about money for like, until I get out of here and I get back on my feet. I mean that like literally back on my feet. And so once I still had that out, and I was still working on physical therapy, and that was getting better and better and all that shit, right? Then the doctor cleared me, and they cut off the week. Were they paying me weekly or every other week? Whatever they were doing, they were paying me whatever, right? So that got cut off, but I still had a good nest egg. And by that, I mean like way more than the 5,000 because the people helped me with the GoFundMe. And so I was like, okay, I can take my time. I don't have to rush anything back. I'm going to do this. And then I went back to work for them because they said they found me something. And I was doing it. And did I like it 100%? Not per se. But like, I probably shouldn't even talk about that. I can't talk about this part. But suffice it to say, other stuff came up. I had to go back to physical therapy about other stuff, right? So I'm thinking during this whole time, I'm like, okay, I still got this little nest egg. My bills are getting paid. I don't have anything new coming in, right? But I was like, the lawyers are working. We'll get this. Once I get that settled and whatever I get, then I can figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. If it's good enough, maybe I can do some sort of go to school or do some online training or something to find something I might actually like to do after this, right? Because I can't do anything like I did before. It's just not, I physically can't, and even the doctors, that's all signed off on, right? So I'm all like, okay. Then all that shit keeps getting pushed back, and I'm like, fuck, I got to do something, right? And I'm like, I'm about at that point where that's happening, and that's when Mama got sick. And then that just dropped me back down, and I'm back to where I was before. Like, not good, but like the same. I'm stuck in. I got to figure some shit out, and I mean soon. Not tomorrow, but like within the next week. And I think about it every day. Maybe not all day, because I've been trying to distract myself. Because if I don't distract myself, it just gets fucking miserable more than ever. And then sometimes I just over distract myself, unfortunately. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Not to be a party pooper on anybody else or anything like that. I think some of this I just kind of needed to like let it out a little bit. And hopefully some people kind of understand or whatever if they watch it or whatever. But that's about it. If like, I mean, sometimes I think that, like, I felt like I was motivated like that for a while, like, to get to that, and then everything else, thanks. Yeah, those are two things, yeah. I mean, I think I'm fucked for the short term, regardless. There's going to be some issues, like, I'm not really going to bring up per se, but, like, yeah, that's kind of the unfortunate side. I don't think I'm trying my best. I think I could try a little bit more. That's why I hate to do the pity party shit. And my brain's having this tug of war with me. Like, yeah, you're pity partying, but then it's like, no, Roy, you're not fucking pity partying. You had a set from like dying or being like 100% paralyzed. I mean, there's other things. I'm not trying to make light of anybody else's. And I am trying to compare myself to other people's struggles, right? To compare that to, you know, it's not like, hey, I just said fuck it. I don't feel like working. I don't feel like doing. I given up. Like there was outside issues that caused this. That really none of it's my fault. That's the worst fucking problem. And I know at the end of the day, life isn't fucking fair. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think if I can get back out of my like pissy ass shit, I could probably. God damn it, man! This thing keeps on peaking. Um, yeah, I don't necessarily know if I need any kind of thing, whatever. But like, I don't know. What I'm doing now isn't good. It's not helping me, honestly. What I do and everything else, it's not helping mentally or physically or nothing. Unfortunately. So right now I'm still like this is kind of how I'll describe it. Like in a thing, say I'm right here. Like I said, like I said, I was kind of felt like I was doing a little bit better money wise, and like was I like happy? No, but I wasn't like you know. So I was kind of like a little gradual thing. Then the wreck happens, and then it was like way down, right? And so when I'm in the nursing home, like when I'm in the hospital, that was terrible. That was like low part. And then the nursing home. So I get out of the hospital, but it doesn't really come up. Like it doesn't come up that much. Like from the hospital to nursing home, I almost would say it goes down. And then so I'm there. And then for the longest time, I couldn't really do but the bare minimum of therapy because of my injuries. So I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. I mean, I'm having to have people clean up for me because I can't go to the toilet. I can't really. Luckily, I kind of was using one arm, but I couldn't see anybody. It was during the middle of COVID and all that shit, right? And I'm also worrying because my mom's all by herself. I had like one of my friends kind of help out and stuff like that, but then my mom was kind of like independent and didn't want to bother them. And I said, "It's not a big bother, Mama. This is kind of a big deal when you ask for help." And don't get me wrong, I don't like asking for help either. Like that's also another probably a problem, and that's not that's probably just who I am in general before all this, right? It's not like I'm necessarily ashamed or anything like that, but it's just not who I was or am, I guess. And so then gradually, you know, say this is like the bottom of it, right? So then, like, I start to be able to do stuff. I can actually get up and walk. I can do more things on my own. I can go to the bathroom on my own. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still in the nursing home. But so, like, it gradually creeps up. And then when I start getting close to, and then I think, like, oh, I'm going to get out of here soon. And then I kind of, like, go back down because I found out when the first time, I don't know if anybody who hasn't kind of gone through something similar could really get it because it really sank in my head the moment. Because I was like, you know how you talk about being strong or being motivated. I was like, fuck this. That I'm cleared to stand up. I'm gonna get the fuck up and I'm gonna walk out of here like in 3 days. No, the first time I stood up, I fell back down right on the bed. I was so unbalanced. I don't even know how to describe it. Right? If you've been laying down for, and I was like pretty much, I'd set up in the chair and stuff like that, but like not standing up and laying down like 99% of, maybe 95% of the time for like, I think it was probably about 3 months at this point, right? When you try to get up, like you're like, fuck this, deer get born and they walk. Well, we're not like that. And so I'm like, I'll be all right, right? I had to almost kind of learn. Plus, I had to learn a little bit how to re-walk because, like, with the whole paralyzed kind of foot thing, it's not the same as before. Even on top of that, like even if that hadn't been the case, it would have still been hard, but then it would have been harder. And then I'm also learning to walk with crutches and other kind of things, you know. And but I had like a positive outlook because I'm like, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here, right? So then I got out of there, and I was like, then my trajectory, it almost felt like it was going way up, but it was probably like a little more gradual because I know I still had to do physical therapy. And then, like, you know, as you do a little physical therapy, I get a little bit better. Stuff hurts a little less. I feel like I'm getting a little stronger. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, cool, cool, cool. And then when I started getting able, like, okay, I can kind of go do this. I went to the store one time and it was wore me out. Like I could barely do much of anything. But then that kind of gradually got better. Don't get me wrong. So that was a gradual climb, right? Then, well, actually, there was more of a setback before that. So, like, I'm gradually climbing up a little bit, and then I had the eye issue. Wait, this one, actually. The eye issue. So then I had to have another surgery. And then the dude's like, we need to do this as quick as we can, because we can, it was attached retina, the way the doctor explained it, like, the longer it goes without being treated, either the harder it is to fix, or it will be more damage. I can't remember specifically, but it was the sooner you have the surgery, the better. It wasn't like something where, hey, we can put this off for like a month and you're probably going to be okay, but you still need to have it done. This needed to be done as soon as. So then I'm stressed out because my one friend, like, I had to have somebody come get me. He can't drive. My mom doesn't drive. My one friend was out of the country or the state or something. My other friend, she couldn't do it. I eventually had to get my boss. He was able to come bring me home, thankfully. And I got that. Then when I get that, so then I'm like, okay, I can start going. And then the eye, I ended up having a cataract. So then my eye, so I went like 2 months before I could kind of see out of this eye at all, right? And then of course the difference between this eye and this eye was fucked. So I had to start wearing contacts. So I started dealing with that, right? Which in the scheme of things, that's not the biggest problem, right? Okay, I finally got all that. But like during this time, I was kind of less. I wasn't able to continue on my upward swing with my physical therapy because I didn't want to do too much because I didn't want to hurt the surgery, you know? So we get all that. You know, I feel like I'm gradually climbing up. My lawyer for the car accident seemed to think like, okay, I've kind of got everything pulled together. Then that was when he was like, hey, I talked to this other lawyer. He said, you know, you have a case for workman's comp, right? So you should do that because that can help this case too. And I'm like, okay. And so that was when I moved to that. He's like, we're going to put this on the back burner. You go handle this with this one, right? At the time, everything like financially was still okay, right? And so I'm still feeling like, okay, cool, we're going to get this. And then none of that ever happened. But at that time, I was kind of like, I'm still good, 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 I'm still okay. Then when that shit started kind of slowing down, and then my nest egg, if you will, kind of went down, and then I would plateau. Like, say I used to be up here, I plateau kind of here, so I'm kind of like in this little area right here. And then I'm kind of like, okay, once I get this figured out, we can get all this shit settled. In my mind, I was thinking like, okay, we'll get this done. It shouldn't take that long. Then we can get the next thing done. Then I'll have all of that. Like that out of the way. I'll still have my physical problems, but I'm kind of at a pretty okay level with that. And, you know, so we're getting there. Then everything keeps getting pushed back, and they blah, 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 blah. Like, this is what kills me. A lot of people think like, man, people, you get to go sue and you just get money off of it. Not me. I mean, I made it directly act like this to me, but I've seen people act like that in general. Like, people, I'm like, trust me, man, dealing with some sort of lawsuit, like, it ain't, I mean, it probably is worth it, but it's not like that fun a thing. It's kind of like when people dog on people for getting, like, welfare or something like that, and I'm all like, it's not that easy, right? So as I was kind of in a medium level, kind of going down a little bit because all that shit, but then I was kind of like, okay, things are going to go okay. Then my mom passes away, and then it went back, woof, like, almost back, like, and it was a pretty quick jump off. Like, well, actually, it wasn't because when I found out how bad off my mom was, and she was in the hospital, even before I had to put her in a nursing home, it was going down. But then it was like, it went down a lot, and then we got to the point where I knew mom wasn't gonna make it, and I knew that she didn't want to go on, right? So then, like, that hit you like a brick. Even though I kind of knew that was a possibility, don't get me wrong, I knew that was a possibility, but until it happens, you still don't know. God damn this fucking microphone. Sorry. And so that's like a crash back down, like maybe even lower than when I was in the wreck. And then so now I'm kind of climbing out, and I had like a couple of good days, and I did some shit, and then that didn't pan out so good. So it's been kind of like low end, but it's been kind of like this. And lately, the last like week or so, it's been kind of like, and I think this doesn't help because like in the opposite graph, the pressure on me to move to do something has been going up as I've been kind of settled down here lower. So like that more and more as time ticks by, that pressure gets a little lower. But I'm still I haven't had a good upswing to kind of catch up with it, right? Because I mean I'm fairly good with dealing with pressure, or I used to be, and so but I need me to kind of catch back up with the pressure. Well, I mean that's kind of where I'm at anyway. If you got to go get food, go get food. Thanks for stopping in and everything like that. But yeah, so I got to catch myself up to like the pressure of what I got to do. But at the end of the day, I'm still gonna be lower than it's gonna take me a while to get back. You know, and if I'd have been younger and I hadn't had like other stuff before this, like I don't know if it'd been worse or better. Hmm, I don't know. Hey, I get that and I understand that. And I want to say I appreciate you saying it like that because with one of my friends, I bring up like she brings up I don't even bring up my shit to her anymore because she makes me so mad because she'll bring up shit like she hates her job, she hates her marriage, like she has a lot, and if I bring this up to her, she gets so mad, and I get it, like her head's fucked like mine, but like I get mad because I'll say there's a lot of things you can do. I cannot fix my foot. I can't do nothing. I can't fix my dead mom. But she'll bring up like these things where if she tried a little bit, or, I think that's actually her texting me. Um, she could actually do something like hers is way more fixable than mine. So like her shit says petty. Like the other day, like her dog died recently or semi recently, maybe even before my mom died. I'm not sure. And then she talked about her dog missing her dog, and I'm all like, and I get it. Like I get you missing your dog, but I'm like, my mom fucking died. You think you miss like in my brain, and I'm not saying she's saying this, but like how it comes across in my head. Like, are you saying like you miss your dog more than I miss my fucking mom? You know what I'm saying? So then I get pissed at her, so it's hard to tell her anything, you know? So like I said, I appreciate you, like, because everybody's got fucking problems, right? Because to me, like, if some like dude in some third world like place who didn't even have any fucking food or electricity or nothing, they're like, you got it great, man. You're in a house and you got air conditioning or whatever, and you got food, and you're on the fucking internet. You're way better off than me. And I'd be like, even if they got like their full home body and full on family, you might still be right, you know? But at the same time, this isn't first world problems like what I have. It's not like, oh man, they got my Starbucks wrong, or or something like that, or my Disney Plus was out today, or whatever bullshit it might be. So it's kind of like, so yeah, so and I'm not trying to make my problems like, because everybody's problems, like no matter how big they are, like if you had like a metric you could base, like, oh, I'm dying versus I don't have a job, it's same, those aren't good, but you're the one dealing with this and I'm the one dealing with that. So to either one, that's going to be your biggest problem because that's just how it is, you know. And from somebody who doesn't know, I could never be offended. But like she knows like all the shit I've been through. So sometimes when she acts like this, and then I'll try and suggest something like, yeah, you could get another job. You could figure something out. Well, I can't make this much I'm like, have you even tried? Like to me, that's worse than my shit. Like she could, like a lot of her things she could fix a lot easier than I could fix my things, right? Because even if the things I gotta do to move back, move on, and kind of get up a little bit, there's the things I like have to do. Like she talks about like she's stuck and this and that, and I'm like, bitch, you ain't even close to being stuck. You don't know shit. So it really irritates me sometimes, and I know she's not doing it on purpose, but man, some fucking times I just get like, I can't even talk to her, and then she what? I'm like, and every once in a while, I've typed out a long ass paragraph to her. I'm like, you crying about X, Y, and Z. You have, X, Y, and Z going for you, and I'm all like, this is all my problems. Can we put them on a scale and see how it would come out? So that makes it kind of hard. Like I said, with the people I do have, in my life, it just kind of like, yeah. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I'd love to go in here one day and be like, show you I'm in a mansion now and I got all my shit and make my foot even works, which that's 99% not gonna happen. But maybe if I could get back on here one day and be like, I'm pretty fucking stable. I got my shit together. Hell, I should be famous. Like I know you. I don't know how many people follow shit, but like this past week, there's been all this kind of drama with like these streamer people, and like some of these people, they're so like fucked in the head. But like, guess what, bro? Like, and I know a lot of people say money it doesn't happiness or whatever, but it's easy as fuck to say money doesn't create happiness or doesn't make you happy when you don't fucking have any money. All these motherfuckers act like they're gonna like their lives were over and they're about to die and all this shit, right? But they all, well, not all of them. Some of the motherfuckers are multi-millionaires, right? Multi fucking millionaires. And I'm just like, bro, if I had like a 15th of what you had going on, I probably wouldn't be as bad off as I am, like mentally, you know? So seeing that shit like is kind of entertaining to me. At the same time, it's also depressing as fuck. I don't know. It's a weird thing, you know? But yeah, like say before this, say I had made it, right? Say I had continued on doing my fucking YouTube One Piece review shit, and I actually look back on that and like I didn't even realize it was that long ago. That's been over 10 years. It's been almost 10 years, right? Since all that shit was starting. But at the time, I got all this other shit going on. I'm like, man, I'm just wore out. I had all this other work and then doing this. I didn't have any way to keep it going up at that time, right? So I'm like, I can't. I got tired of doing it. But I was doing okay back then, and maybe if I'd have kept going, maybe I could have wrote it out and been something. I don't know. Because like now I'm like, look, it says there's 4 concurrent viewers. I don't know if that counts me because I got the little window open, but like back then I would get at least like if I did. Well, I don't even know if I was doing a lot of streams back then. Maybe I was, but I would get like a few people in there, like 10 or something, right? And then on some of my videos I would get like 2 or 3 thousand views. Every once in a while one will pop off. Like sometimes they get mad because like they would click on. I don't know who the fuck thought people were uploading. I would write in the title, and then they would click on it thinking, like, this motherfucker's put out the full chapter or the full anime or whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck are you stupid, right? I'd even tried some different stuff. I tried to come do a little bit more production values. I try to put the stupid little skit thing in with the nerd guy. Try to come up with like the try to see. My only thing is, man, I never had that good mentality about like. I don't mean this in a negative way, selling out, but like this kind of toning myself down or like doing like the kind of shit you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I never kind of so I try to do the whole like make a community thing when I did like the I think I said manga maniacs, and I would come out with like crazy theories of the week and shit like that. I thought that like I think if I would have kind of went going with that, it just never clicked to me in my brain good enough, like where some of these other people have, you know. And then some of these people, I don't remember them doing it back then. There's like one dude that does all this shit now, and he gets a lot of views. Like does like One Piece review. I don't know if he does other ones too, but and and like part of me is like, man, don't think that because then you feel bitter. I'm like, you know, it's like what the fuck's, you know, it's not like you came out with a super original idea. But I remember when I first kind of came up with the idea to start doing the like chapter reviews, I don't remember seeing like that many people was doing it then. Then it seemed like it popped off at one point and everybody was fucking doing it, right? And like I'm like if I'd have just kept going, maybe. But like, you know, that's second guessing or not second guess, that's hindsight, so you can't change shit with that, right? So, you know, because none of it was ever like I hear a lot of people like they had to leave, like they were getting hate comments or they was like too stressful or something like that. None of that was really bothering me. Mine was just like I sometimes I just didn't feel like doing it. I felt like it was having another job on top of the job I had to have, you know. So and I wasn't get at the time I wasn't getting that much out of it. I made a little bit of money off of YouTube back then. Um, but I don't know how it is now. But to cash out, you had to have $100, right? I know. I think one year I might have made like $1,000 the whole year, if that, um, off of it, right? It wasn't like I was pulling in like the numbers that some of the big time people were, or and I wasn't even that big. But like even now, I would say like people, if I was getting now what I was getting then, I could probably pull that off. All you know, I probably could pull more out of it. You know what I'm saying? And I know things change and shit like that, right? But I think that would have probably helped me a little bit because like all this shit ever started. Because when I started doing YouTube originally in like 2000 fucking like six, seven, like I mean, I don't remember exactly when YouTube's created, but I know it was like 2006, 2007. I started doing YouTube shit like within a year after it came out. Like I watched it for a while. And this is back when it was the Wild West shit, because this is back when people used to go on YouTube just to watch like old people would upload like movies or old TV shows or whatever the fuck on YouTube. That's what people were watching YouTube for back then, more or less. You get the occasional like viral video, but a lot of people weren't necessarily like creating content specifically for YouTube at that time. And then people started doing that. People would upload. People would make it a little bit like. Philip DeFranco did his little news show. Other people were doing that. It was a lot of people just getting on and doing like vlog kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes people start doing sketches and shit like that, you know, or something like that. And there was like Smosh and there was that girl, I can't think of her name. And a lot of it was just kind of trying to do like weird. There was that lonely girl, like, is it real? Is it not? That was kind of a lot of the shit early on. And I got into like what I got into is like I found like there was like communities of people and they were just getting on there and like talking. It was like it used to be kind of almost like a forum, except it was in video. And while I'm like not the worst like writer of written words, I always felt I was better at speaking and shit like that than I ever was at like typing out big shit on forums. And to me, it was easier too. And get on here and talk to me, it's a lot quicker and easier than if I wrote up like fucking 15 pages of fucking shit for like a forum or whatever. And so, you know, so like back then it was like the whole atheist shit, right? And then where I'm located at, like it's not. Sorry about that. Like sometimes you wait on food forever, bro. And so so I was like, oh cool, these are other people I can talk to these. There's all kinds of bullshit with that too, but like you could like somebody could make a video, you could respond to it, talk to them, vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Like watch them, they watch you, vice versa. All that shit, that was cool. You know. Then money started coming into it, and things were kind of weird. But even back then, none of that. I never really ever. I think I got partner before I ever did. I'm pretty sure I got partner before I ever started doing the manga shit. I tried to even make some like goofy ass skits shit like in that point too. Um, but I never took it like serious as like I'm going to make a career out of this or anything like that. I think now that's what everybody feels like. So sometimes I look back on myself and I get down on myself. I'm like, man, if only you'd have took this more serious back then, maybe you could have made something out of yourself. I don't fucking know. I guess I was never bombastic. I'm pretty bombastic in real life. Like that was weird. I just felt, I think I got on here and I thought all these people were more performative, and I was like, just be your real fucking self, right? I think that was where I got stuck in my head, and I should have like turned my shit up a notch. Um, and not necessarily edgy per se, but just like personality wise. But like I don't know, it's always been hard for me. I'm better like coming off from like interactions and stuff, and like I said, originally I was stuck in like the whole atheist shit and talking about all that, and that wasn't a very good like sell. Even today, it's not. It's something like a niche thing, right? And this is back before you could play video games, really, like all the software and OBS and everything like that. So none of that really crossed my mind. And at that point, I wasn't really I wasn't like a game person. I was like video games, but I wasn't like real consistent in playing video games. You know, like some people, like that's what they always did. I'd watch TV. What I should have done, if I would have started doing like reviews of like fucking like American shit, you know, like people like there's one dude I watch. He did like the Game of Thrones. He does all the Marvel shit. He blew up. He makes a fuckload of now. I imagine. Um, and also then not a lot of people took shit serious. You weren't getting like sponsorship deals like you do now. Like every time, I don't know how many people watch YouTube from like people. Like everybody has like an ad from like Surfshark or VPN or what's that? The cereal or the fucking shave your balls thing or any of those. You know, back then there wasn't none of that. So you were getting like the ads on YouTube and that was it. And yeah. And then if you didn't have the time to put in to like do shit, you know. So yeah. So I kind of missed that train, if you will. And a lot of my content was just like me getting on there and just speaking my mind and my like fucking and like about an opinion on something. So I didn't ever really, you know, I didn't have like I think now when people start doing a YouTube thing, they have in the mind what they want to do. I never really had that. So like I was always just joining. The closest I ever had to that was when I started doing the the not when I started doing it, the manga thing, but as it kind of went on a little bit, I kind of started feeling like that. And then like part of me was like, fuck, I can't talk about nothing else but it because you know, sometimes people, man, if you get into like a niche thing, you can't talk about anything else. So because you're going to alienate the people. It's like, I'm here. Could you please talk about One Piece? You know, and then also another problem was I was critical of other ones, which some people liked and some people didn't. Right? So I talk shit about Naruto or Bleach or what. And back then, Bleach was pissing me the fuck off because it was so like, bleh. And this is back when One Piece was doing like the shit. Because I think I started talking about it. It had to be around. And that was another thing. And probably it was close to when they were doing like before the war, the big war and everything like that. I don't remember what my first review. I put everything on private because at one point I was like, fuck all this, and I was just gonna give up. I was just gonna watch YouTube, right? So, your videos. So I don't remember what my first. Let's see. Can I sort this shit? Isn't there a way to sort this? Sorry, filter. Copyright, description, views, visibility. No, I was trying to sort. Fuck, let me just go back. Wait, can I? I know you can do it on, like, I'm in my own video. I can't do it on my live page because Maybe I didn't get into it till after the war, but that would also still been a good time. I was trying to find my first one I put up. And then also at that time I was really only interested in One Piece, right? But I had to kind of branch out. So then I got into like Naruto and Bleach. That was another reason why I wasn't so passionate about them, because those I felt, I don't necessarily say if I felt forced or I forced myself into talking about other ones. I did find some good manga and shit I did like, but it wasn't necessarily popular ones. So also, I think this is before you could do like or at least before the donations and shit were more acceptable. Because back then, also too, like if you asked for money or did anything, like everything was like it was all like fucking. Everybody felt like you were e-begging or whatever or selling out. You know what I'm saying? Okay, it looks like March 26, 2010. Because originally what I did is like I think because I knew people were getting into it, I'd started doing like retrospects of like their One Piece from the beginning and everything like that. And those are getting, yeah, like one of the first videos I did on One Piece, and I don't know how long it took to get these views, had like 17,000. And then I did another one, it was 20,000. But a lot of people were mad because I think they thought I was putting up the actual anime or something. Then I had a 50,000. Then I did the first one that was a chapter review was One Piece chapter 579. That was when Shanks showed up to end the war. That's the first one that I did like a review for a specific manga chapter. That one had like 14,000 views. And then I think I did like the anime at some point too. And like back then, like that was good for me, 14,000 views, you know. So, yeah, remember I dropped off when I brought up my old shit. I don't know how accurate this shit is on the little dashboard. It's like one concurrent viewer, and then I'll go up here. You can go with like who's participants, and then it just says my name. So I don't know. Like so, sometimes I feel like I'm just talking to myself, you know. So then I'm crazier than I realize. But yeah, so like March. Part of me also wants to go look at like some big like YouTubers and see when they first did their first One Piece video. And then a lot of it like this was like and then like a lot of this was easy because I would just kind of go over the chapter and talk about shit. Then I started incorporating like the crazy theories where I do a little bit of research. If at that time I would have went and did more research and like added that in like theories videos and like stuff like that, I think that would have blew up too back then. Because I know like some big YouTube people like Library of Ohara or something. Skip shit. And there's some other dude. They started doing like that kind of stuff, and they usually get a lot of views on that. But I wasn't. I just didn't have. I was off that day. I was sitting at home, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it took me. I know, you know, sometimes I would do a little bit more time wise. Like, how long was this first video I made? It is the first one. Well, the first one is like 15 minutes, right? And I would not edit it or nothing. I would just talk about it and upload it. I think it was I don't think I live streamed these. I think that's before YouTube even had that on there. So, yeah. That was March 2010. And then I started branching out. I hear at some point I'm doing a Fairy Tail chapter review and September of that year. So I was kind of quick to pick up other stuff. So then I got to catch up on all that, right? On top of everything else. Because I was already caught up on One Piece first, started talking about it. Everything like that. There's a Bleach review I made. It's like 26,000 views. I mean, I'm getting like, if I made a One Piece review, it was getting at least, things were getting at least 1,000 to like 10,000 review, 10, you know, a video was getting 1,000 plus to 10,000 on average, I would say, if it was like a video about One Piece or whatever, right? Now, of all those views, how many people were watching all of them? How many people clicked on them just because, because I made all these privates, it deleted all the comments, so I don't know how many comments. Some of them had decent ratings, some of them were, lower. And I don't know if that was people that gave me like a thumbs down because like they clicked on it and they thought they were going to watch like the fucking whole episode or something like that. Because back then, also, that's another thing. Because back then, like people were like, well, you should put clips in or whatever, right? Back then, YouTube was so, and from what I understand, YouTube's still weird about this with like fucking like, especially with anime and manga shit. And like even I got like me when I remember when I started trying to come back with the One Piece reviews like last year, and then I got a fake strike from this motherfucker. And guess what? At the end of the day, I didn't want to lose my channel because like it's just like a history thing. I've been on it so long, I didn't want to get it. Like maybe if I'd had my channel deleted a long time ago, I probably wouldn't be so worried. But since this like I've had this for like over 15 years. You know what I'm saying? So let's see, and I was still making 2011. I'm still making them videos. They're not necessarily growing that much at this point, but I'm still getting anywhere from like, at least if it's like a One Piece or a Bleach view or Naruto, I'm getting like in the thousands of video views on it. Let's see. Well, I'm trying to see like 2012. I'm still getting 1,000 at least. I mean, nothing was lower. Like, if it was an actual chapter review about one of the big three or so, I was getting at least 1,000 views on it. There's one that didn't do good. It was a Naruto review. It only got 300 something views. There's a random One Piece one that didn't get over 1,000. And then the next one would. Let's see, when did I stop doing? Let's see. Well, at one point I stopped and then I kind of came back. So I'm trying to where I was still consistently. Looks like chapter 700, February 2013. So I almost did it for 3 years. But like the thing was, I never grew that much. Maybe that was another thing. Like I was kind of still getting about what I was. Nothing really got bigger. That was kind of why when I went away. And then I came back, started doing like the video game shit. Yeah, I kind of miss like 690, 689. Yeah, chapter 700, it didn't get 1,000, but the one before that got like 1,700. But I never got like, I still always hovered around like 2,000 subscribers. Yeah, so let's see, 2012, yeah. So I almost went, if it was 2000, so it was close. Yeah, February. Then I took a break from YouTube. I didn't come back till like August. So I took like 6 months. I don't know what was going on during that time, to be honest, 2013. So I almost did it for like 3 years pretty consistently. And I never got like, I think maybe I grew a little bit more of a fan base, like specific ones, but I never grew like to a ton of viewers or grew any more than what it was, you know? So, yeah, that was that. So, Oh, looks like I got nobody watching now. I bored you all to fucking tears with my nostalgia look back on it. So I almost did it for about 3 years. So I don't know what it was. I never could get like. I think like I felt like I never got over that threshold. So I think maybe that's a little discouraging. So then I'm all like, I think that might have been part of it too. I got a little bit discouraged. So then I'm all like, why the fuck? Why the fuck should I try harder? It's like it's not worth the trouble, you know. So I think that was kind of might have been where I was at that point. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd have kept going. Maybe if I'd have did something different, you know. But you know, sometimes I think like I wonder because I was reading Reddit for One Piece, which I don't go to Reddit for much, but like they post the One Piece spoilers, and sometimes I go to R One Piece or whatever, and they were talking about like their top, like who was your favorite YouTuber or whatever, right? And there were some names I didn't know, and then like I remember this guy back in the day, Sawyer Seven Mage or whatever. I think that was his name. I remembered him, and so I was like, okay. So I guess he's still making videos. So I was like, and sometimes this is a little bit egotistical, if you will. Sometimes I was like, I wonder if there's anybody who's all like, man, I really miss. I don't know if I was going by doing X71 back then, or if I was Roy Royce then or not. But like, I wonder if they're like, man, I really missed him. I liked his reviews. You know what I'm saying? So, and then like people just fall off YouTube. It's why like people like PewDiePie's got 100 and fucking whatever million. PewDiePie's got like 100. I think it's like 110 million subscribers, right? So you're like, well, fuck, he should be getting like 110 million views. He gets like, I don't know, like let's look it up. PewDiePie. Oh, 111 million subscribers, right? Videos. He's got. Let's see if any. Because back then, people used to get like. That was how you knew you were doing good. If you're getting like way more views than you are subscribers. Oh, hey, JK. Oh, I got a question. In your name, you have like a little check mark. Is that like you're verified on YouTube or something? I just curious. I see some people when they're chatting, they'll have the little check mark, and then some people don't. I just was curious if you're still in here. But yeah, so like PewDiePie, I mean, he's still compared to the average YouTube, he's getting like, all right, let's go back 6 months. Old video has 5 million 5 million views. Uh, One he put out 5 days ago has 4 million, 2 million, 3 million. I mean, he's not, but like, if you think about it, you got 100. He's getting like less than a tenth. Like, if I go back one, like he's not even getting like videos that are like 7 months old or nothing. They don't have 10 million views, so nobody's getting like a tenth. You know, I said maybe Mr. Beast. Like I think he gets more views on it because he's still like on an upswing. Like a lot of people that I remember who got big back in the day, they were doing, but now their shit's dropped way. I think a lot of it's people like don't use YouTube or don't use YouTube that way, or they got other shit going on in their lives or whatever, or they got banned or I can't imagine how many people who still listen to my subscriptions like are subscribers who probably either got banned or quit watching YouTube or whatever. So I don't know. Okay, that makes sense. Verified. That's what I figured it meant, but I wasn't sure. Cause I thought maybe like some people like in their live chats they have uh like they give like if you're a subscriber or a member or whatever it is on YouTube. So I thought like maybe it was something to do with that or like a mod or something. But I know a mod looks different. let's say somebody over here's live stream and I was watching. I was trying to see if there was any, because like in theirs they give you like a little thing by your name if you're like a member or whatever. I thought maybe it was something to do with that, like if you had like a different kind of like role in their chat or something. I guess checkmark means verified everywhere. I know it does on Twitter. I think they had it on. I don't know if they have it on Twitch or not. I know there's a check mark, but I don't know if that means verified or that just means you're like a partner. So, I don't know. Oh, and another thing, back in the day, I tried to do the live streaming stuff even before YouTube, because YouTube didn't used to have it. I remember going to Blog TV and shit and doing like live streams, because I think back then, I don't even think it was Twitch then. I think it was still like Justin TV or something. Like you couldn't live stream, like you had to live stream like video. Yeah, I just want that like I watched one person over here and they have like a little like their kind of like icon comes up with theirs. So I guess that's different, and it has like different colors based on what level you became a member at. But I just was wondering if it meant something different. Cause like, what if you're? I'm trying to see if they have a mod. Like, do they have like the little? They have like the little like wrench or something beside their name. I think that shows that they're a mod. But yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so like I did the blog TV shit back then, or hell, I remember even I was doing shit before that. They had a site. They had like Stickam, and you could go in there and do like video call, but it was like a room kind of thing. It's kind of like Google. It's crazy. Sometimes when I look back on sites, like they had like ideas of shit before other people even did, but they just it never came to fruition. Like you got Zoom and shit now. It was kind of it wasn't a direct program. It was a website, but like you go in, you have like all the windows and the meetings and stuff. Like so, I don't know if somebody bought out like Stickam or something and just kept like the IP in the back and turned that into things. Or back then also you had like Skype, and then Skype kind of died off. Everybody uses Zoom now, and hell, most people online people use Discord, you know. So it's just crazy. It's wild seeing shit that was going on back then that didn't make it, but now it's like kind of become the norm. Plus, it used to be harder. It was way, way, way harder to like stream like a video game on screen than it used to be before they had like capture cards and like before OBS. OBS is like a game changer, honestly. I think that because you used to have to use like two or three programs, like because you had to get the sound and then like you get like a screen capture. I can't remember what they were called. Uh, I think some of the people used to use them on this podcast I used to watch, like back then before OBS. It was something where you could record and put overlays up and have kind of like a panel on, you know, and put it up on YouTube. And I don't know if they did. I don't think they were even doing it live then. I think they had to record it and then just upload it as a YouTube video. So yeah, yeah, 100%. Because I even looked. I made a video back in the day because there was like some accusations going that like somebody sent like some other. I think it was a manga shit when I was doing all that. Somebody in that community, like somebody supposedly sent them like an email like with like racist shit in it or something. And this I don't know if OBS was back even existed back then, or I didn't know about it. I had to use like a screen recording program where I went and I showed that you could go in like Google Chrome and go in the Elements, or I think it's called Elements. It's been a long time since I fucked with that shit. Elements section, and you could change the email, and you could even record it as a video, like instead of just using a screenshot, and you could still like it would still show the changes. But that would be so much easier to do with like a with like OBS now, because you can do so much. Like I can have camera up. I can you know, I can put on like a whole lot of like the video, like the starting screen, or be right back, or just full webcam, or I can have like this where I have like the web, like a web page, or capture a capture like you know, capture one of my monitors, you know, or like this one I have set up where like I capture like a gameplay. You know, this one I don't even know if you can hear me here. This is just like the alerts thing, so like I put it in all my other shit. So you can even have multiple cameras if you want to. Because I remember I did like I don't even remember how I did it. I did like a podcast with I don't know if you remember. It was his name was Nimu, or we called him Nim. He was from Japan. I did like some podcasts with him where I talked about like Japanese stuff, and he talked about Japanese stuff, and we talked about American stuff. Or right, you know, I'd ask him about Japanese stuff, and we would discuss like American comic books, or we just and I could explain to him American side, and he could explain his side, and vice versa. I don't even remember. I'm pretty sure I used Skype. I don't remember how I recorded. Like we didn't do video. I I I don't remember how. I don't remember how I recorded the sound back then. Honestly, did I use? What the fuck was it? There's that one like freeware program. What's it called? I used to use it all the time back then. I don't use it anymore. And then I know I used it to edit. What the fuck is it called? It's not VLC player, but it's like where you can edit audio. But it's like a freeware, like open source thing. I don't remember what I used to record the sound though, because like OBS is set up where you just you can click all these settings for like what you want to fucking record. You know, desktop, microphone. Yeah. Also, I kind of incorporated that whole shit because I was like, that's part of the YouTube game. Because back then, Audacity. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. I couldn't think of the name, but you're right, JK. Yeah, I kind of started doing the crazy theory shit because like back then I was hearing like a lot of things on YouTube, like what they were looking for, they wanted you to get like engagement, like if you put up a bunch of videos and you just got views on them, it could just be clickbait titles or clickbait thumbnails, and so it didn't really count. So like they would see you were like, and I learned that shit from Philip DeFranco because he started that shit like a long time ago. He was doing that like question of the day or whatever, and so I was like, oh man, if I do crazy theories, I'm gonna get people, you know, like not to sound, you know, like I was plotting or something, but like those are things you think about if you're trying to bro shit. You got to kind of play the game, unfortunately, even if you don't necessarily agree with it 100%, you know, and so that was kind of where that came from. And then I'm like, I'll incorporate it and I'll tell people I'll read them in the video because a lot of people seem like that motivated people. I didn't have any money to do like giveaways. Like I know some people do those as giveaways and shit. I think I did something one time, like a contest, but I didn't have any money to give away. I think I just told them I would put up their artwork or something and give them a shout out. Um, so yeah, but like all that shit's like part of it. But yeah, it's totally different from what it's grown to today versus now. It's like I was also thinking back. I don't know how old you are, JK, but like you know I'm 41. So like when I got into YouTube, it wasn't even created. Like when I was like younger, I think they help sometimes. I know there's this one guy. Have you ever heard of Emergency Awesome? He does like all the reviews of like Marvel shit and Game of Thrones, and stuff like that. He'll. I think he still does it. Like they're not. He's like, you'll you know comment your question, and I'll pull a random person, and you'll get like a free month of Disney Plus or something. Not like necessarily like super big giveaways. Um, Maybe it's also a kind of it's just a way of giving back. I don't know. But yeah, like I'm like we used to sit in my dorm when I was in college. We were playing video games and like watching each other play. Like back then, I even didn't even necessarily like to play that much. I wish I'd have been more like entrepreneurial or some bullshit. Like I could have created Twitch back then, and that's probably how they came up with it anyway. It was kind of yeah, he probably does. I don't know. It's weird. The chat showed up on the screen, but it on OBS, but then it didn't show up in the actual chat window. Did that show up? Did mine show up on the screen? Huh. That's weird. But I saw it on there. It showed up on the OBS, but it didn't show up on the YouTube chat thing. Um, but yeah, Like, if we'd only had that shit back then, that'd have been crazy. So like, I get that's probably how Facebook. That's probably how all that shit got started. Because then most of that shit, all that shit, get created when they were in college and shit. Because I'd sit there watching. This is PlayStation 1 era, and they were playing Silent Hill, and I just wasn't good at the game, but I like watching and like giving like ideas and instructions, like be like, hey, check over there, or hey, you missed this, or this was back here, or Resident Evil, or whatever. If only, if only. But even back then, the technology probably would not have been nearly. It could have been good on college because when I went to college, that was the first time I ever experienced like high speed internet. Because before that, I don't know how if any of y'all had internet back when you had to use the dial up phone. It was like 24K, and then it was like 56.6 or whatever. Like that was like the first time they had like I guess it wasn't fiber, but it was they called it like T1 speed or something back then. It was so good. Um, and it was on like a network, and people used to put up like movies and shit back then. So it was kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, we did like that too. Like that was before, like I said, we were doing. This is the era when I was in college. It was PlayStation 1, Sega Dreamcast. My one roommate, he had got both of those, and yeah, I remember LimeWire. Like, see, this was before that. I remember this when Napster came out. That was when I was in college. Like, it was a new thing, and all my other roommates used to go back home every weekend, but I stayed at college. One weekend, I don't know if you remember these. I can't remember. It's like they had all these like when they used to release CDs and shit. They had like best of like greatest hits X, and they had like so many. I went through and like I just went to the website. I found all the titles, and a whole weekend I downloaded like the entire library of all those songs from Napster during that whole weekend, just because I didn't have anything else better to do, and it was something new and cool to me at the time. I kind of maybe I did use LimeWire or Kazaa a little bit because that was kind of when you were getting when videos started coming. I think I used it to download some like porn, but you had to be real careful back then. Then but I didn't have. Then I was living on my own outside of the dorms, so I had to use like just the dial-up, so it was really slow. Uh, but But then when the internet kind of got more fat or faster, like DSL or whatever, I think I started using torrents. That's what I was more into for a long time was torrents to download stuff. Like yeah, Napster. Like back then, like Napster would have been like it wasn't quite to the point where you get like video. And maybe it was also because maybe it was also because like part of it was like we kind of knew it wasn't legal, and now you can go like you go on YouTube, you can find like pretty much any music song, but they're all either licensed or they get ads on it or whatever, so it's not quite the same. Because this is even before this is before maybe they'd started making MP3 players, but I'm pretty sure it was before iPod and everything became a thing. Because this is before smartphones and everything, so it wasn't like you downloading was really that helpful back then. So if somebody would have came out with like, I think if somebody would have came out with like Spotify or something on those veins back then, that Napster wouldn't have stood a chance. But I think all those kind of came because of Napster, because all the music people started, because even back then it was still you're still big on buying like albums. Because I remember I bought like Eminem CD, like the Eminem Show or Marshall Mathers LP2 or whatever it was called, whatever that was going on back then. Um, I think we were at the point like I think maybe my friend had a CD burner so you could burn CDs, but it wasn't quite where it is where you just upload it to your phone or MP3 player like it is now. Um, let's see. Plus, I'll be honest, a lot of that shit, none of that shit Most of this shit came out pirated stuff first before anybody ever realized how to monetize it. Because, like I said, people were uploading like old movies or videos and shit on YouTube a long, long time ago before like even like Netflix and Hulu and all that shit kind of started, right? And even back then, YouTube didn't really know. Like for the first couple of years, like I think I was using YouTube before it got sold to Google, so they didn't really have any way to really monetize it back then. But yeah, so like all that shit's kind of stemmed from like pirate shit, and then it kind of got because I'm sure some places use like torrent like stuff legally. You know what I'm saying? Because back then it was a good way to download shit before everybody had like really fast speeds. Like even if you were using it like in a business sense, like make a torrent, and even if it was like like a legal file, like if you could use like like the torrent protocol, whatever. I can't remember what it's got a specific name, but like the torrent, I guess it is torrent protocol, like dot tor or whatever, not tor, but like yeah. See, like I didn't find this out until later, but I don't know. Do you know what the Sega Dreamcast is? I'm sure you've heard of it, right? Um, Come to find out, like back then, even back then, you could download like ISOs. You could burn. You didn't even have to mod um, a Dreamcast because, like, I had a Dreamcast when I was collecting games. And I downloaded a bunch of ISOs and burn on there. Like this is years later than when it was originally out, but it would play like burnt games back then. I don't know if the PlayStation One was like that or not. I remember when I first I had my first Apple smartphone. I jailbroke that. I think you can still jailbreak phones and stuff, but I haven't messed with it in a long time. So also I find it funny now, like every single like not necessarily every single network, but a lot of networks come up with their own like streaming service. Like HBO has their own, Showtime has their own, NBC, they got Peacock, you got like Paramount, you got, AMC has their own. Like that's like the thing now is even if it's a real channel, they've got like they all have a streaming service. Yeah, see, I didn't even know that was a thing you could do back then, so I would have had no clue about the jailbreaking or like or whatever, like PS1 or modding it. I learned about that shit later on. And like I said, the only reason I did it with the Dreamcast because the one I had, there might have been like you might have had to have a certain version of one or something, but I didn't have to do anything to it. It just burnt as long as I um, burnt the like ISO files the right way, it would just play like a normal game. So it never was, anything harder than that for me. I don't know if I'd ever went through the trouble of getting it modded or trying to mod it myself, like a PS1 or anything like that. I did jailbreak my Wii at one time, and I downloaded a bunch of games. You had to have like a separate hard drive, and I had a bunch of games on that. And then I also downloaded um, and burnt and used like some old like NES and Super NES ROMs and stuff. I did do that on the Wii, but that's the last time I did anything like that. I don't know if you could even do it with the PS3 or anything after that, or if you can, it's probably a lot harder. Or you have to go in there and like solder something. Now they're trying to make everything where it's like you got to download. And I think I have an Xbox over there where it's just download. It doesn't even have a disk drive in it. I don't know if it's Xbox One or whatever it is. Like I guess they still make CDs and DVDs and shit like that, right? but like it can't be, especially CDs. Like streaming music and downloading music's got to be way way easier now than even movies. Like even if you don't have a super fast connection, you might not have as great a connection to stream like really good quality like movies, but like music, I can't imagine they're even still making CDs. They probably make more records now than they make CDs because everybody got like all hipster with like records sound better or whatever, you know? And then even games now, a lot of games are like, especially if you're playing on the PC, like my PC, I don't even have a disc drive on it, so I couldn't even install like a disc game. So like, and then you had like stuff like with Steam and like Xbox Store and all that shit now, or Microsoft, I guess if you want to play on PC. So even then, people like they don't have any need to buy like PC games anymore. They're all downloads. I guess the PS5 still uses discs, but I bet you a lot of people downloads too. The only downside to that is like with a computer, it's easy to have like a good amount of like a hard drive or something. Like I don't know if it's different now, but like having like a bigger, I guess you can do like an external or something. I would imagine like on like PS5 or whatever. And then of course Nintendo has. I guess you can download that, but they have. Doesn't the Switch use like the little? They use like the little like almost like SD cards, don't they, for games instead of using discs. So I don't know how you could pirate that. Maybe you could. Maybe you could do like a, because I know they got like what they call like EverDrives, where you use the SD card, you put all the ROMs, and you stick it in like a NES cartridge or a Super Nintendo or probably even N64, and then it'll have all the ROMs on the card. And you can put it in an actual original Nintendo or N64 or whatever, and it's got like software on it where it reads it. And, it acts like it's it reads the ROMs off of the EverDrive, and you can play all the games like that. But I don't know if you could do that with. And I'm sure Nintendo probably has like now, especially like on the Switch and shit, probably has a lot. Like a lot of like software or something like like was it anti-piracy shit. I mean, my back, it's better than it was. It's still not 100%, but nothing I have right now is 100%. But it's better than it was when had to go back to therapy and everything like that. Sometimes, some days it's worse than others. My arm's been bothering me lately. This left arm, because I have like I don't know if it shows up on this camera if you can see that scar. They had to cut my arm open, and I got like a I can even kind of like feel it like right here where they put the like metal like pin or whatever it is in there. Like right now, yesterday it was hurting a lot. Today it's not that bad. So it comes and it goes. Today I went to the store and I sat down. My seatbelt was like the buckle for some reason it wasn't up here. It was down here, and I sat like and I leaned right because this is the side where they had to cut my hip open and everything. And I got like a big scar there, and like I sat right on it. And I was like, that shit hurt. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you ever play like what a ROM is? Like I know you're younger than me, but like what the NES or Super NES was, right? Like there's like SNES or like emulators. It kind of basically does like it's kind of like a built-in emulator, but then it reads it like it's an actual cartridge or whatever. That's kind of how it works, from what I understand. Yeah, my physical shit, like, it's not great, not good. It's none of those things, right? now, right now, it's like I'm not in a good mental space. Like I gotta motivate myself. I gotta go get shit figured out. So yeah. Oh no, you can do like. Did you ever play? What'd you say? You said what game system you was playing, or you were like the Wii. I know there's a Wii emulator out there. We can play like Wii and it's called Dolphin. You can like play like Wii games on your computer and GameCube games and stuff like that. It's not as good at emulating as like the older ones like SNES or NES was, but you can play. And the Wii one's kind of weird because the motion controls. But I'm sure there's ones for like PlayStation 2 and shit like that. Yeah, I don't know if you were in here earlier or not, like, cause my mom died like a little over 2 months ago, so that's been my also sent me back down a bit. So, but yeah, if you ever want to play like old like NES or Super NES games or something like that, or try them out, like that's probably the best way to go. Yeah, it was pretty tough. I mean, it's still kind of tough in my head. Like I was saying earlier, she wasn't doing good, and she was in pain, and she was suffering. She had cancer, and so part of me is relieved that she isn't still suffering. But of course, I didn't want my mom to die. But I would rather her passed on and not still be suffering. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a little bit of weight. Plus, she was getting so bad, I had to help her, and it was hard for me to help her. I couldn't help her as well as I could because of my own physical shit. You know what I'm saying? So not good, but that took a little stress off of me. Not that it was about me, but you know what I'm saying. So, but yeah, like I said, if you want to play some older games, like anything before, I would say usually the emulators are pretty good for like old Nintendo systems. Like they have ones where you can play like Game Boy Advance games and old Game Boy Color. I don't know, maybe like DS. I don't know about 3DS. Excuse me, but like games like that definitely play pretty well on. If you have an okay computer, you don't even have to have that good a computer. And the thing is, I don't know. I can't even look at it. What's Yeah, you have to have like an emulator. So like say there's like a Super Nintendo, like there's different ones, but like this Super NES, SNEX 9 or whatever. And then you have to have the ROMs. Let's see. ROM. And then there's like this is like every Super Nintendo game, probably even doubles. And most of them like the bigger ones, they're like maybe okay, here's some like they're around at the biggest ones are still they're only around like 3,000 kilobytes, so they don't even take up that much. So this right here, let's see, that's pretty much every Super Nintendo game. That's for every Super Nintendo game. It's only 600 and something megabytes, and there was like 800 or something Super Nintendo games. And I do have, let's see, I only have a few. And then like they got the old Sega Genesis, Master System, N64, Game Boy Advance, Atari if you want to go back that far, GameCube. GameCube you can play, it's good to have the Dolphin emulator. Let's see. All right, let's pull this up. Like with these, they're a little more. They're a little less stable. This is a really good game. I know you say you played the Wii, but I'd recommend a controller. But you can play. I think you can play these with a keyboard if you're good at that. It's not as stable. See, it crashed. But like I said, like if you want to play like the older ones, like NES, N64, I think there's a few that don't work. But like, I'm sure you've heard of like Majora's Mask and what's the other one? The other Zelda game on N64, Super Mario 64, you know, shit like that. I'll tell you what's a pretty good game on the GameCube. Uh, which you can also play. They have two Zelda games on GameCube. Is Twilight Princess, which I had played originally on the Wii because it got ported, but then they added in the motion controls. But they did have a version on GameCube, so that might be easier to play on the computer because you could use like I just use like an Xbox controller, and you can just you just got to map the buttons, and it probably has as many most it has enough buttons to map for an N64 controller. Um, Yeah, that's a good game. I think there's some differences or something on the GameCube version. I can't remember. Like some people don't. Some people either don't like some of the GameCube's differences, or they don't like some of the, or they don't like some of the fucking, or the differences on the Wii. Like what they changed. I can't remember. Yeah, I never finished it, but I got pretty far. I don't even remember how far I got. I never played Skyward Sword. Um, but did you ever play? It's really easy. You want me to tell you the best way to do it, or at least the best way for me that I found? There's two different ways. I started doing it two different. I did it two different ways, right? At first, like Twitch has its own. You can download. It's like a OBS, like or Streamlabs or whatever. It's basically OBS, but it's like different. They just took because OBS is open source. So the first time I started doing it, what I did is I just put my stream key in for Twitch on. I put my stream key in for Twitch and one of them, and I put my stream key in for YouTube on a different one, right? But come to find out, there's a site. Here, I'll send you. I'll put the link in chat. Let me just pull it up. I don't know what limitations are on this. Ah, fuck. I don't need all that. I gotta get back to chat. Sorry. But here, this is what I was using recently. Is what it does is gives you a stream key from this site, and you can set up like I think you can even do like I think for free I think you can do two, but I think if you like I think you can like subscribe or pay something. You look into it like um and it doesn't put up a it doesn't even I don't think it puts up nothing in like it doesn't put like an overlay or nothing as far as I know. I think there's a way like where you can like it's like how a lot of things there's like a limit to what you can get for free. I think if you pay, like you can stream to more sites. Like, let me see. And I didn't even create a separate thing. I just have I just use my Google, right? I think you can. It's also got a thing where you can embed the stream. Um, yeah, like you can add a channel. Like here, it's got all kind. It's got an option where you can stream to Facebook Live, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, D Live, Telegram. Some of these I've never even heard of. Um, Something in like Japanese or something. Steam. I don't know what if you just want to. I guarantee you, if you just want to do Twitch and YouTube, I never had a problem with it. You just go. What I did would just go. You got to log in or whatever. Just like go to OBS or whatever you want to use. I assume you use OBS. Uh, you know, that way you just you go to your settings, stream keys, set it up for restream. It streams. I don't know. Like I get there might be a little lag, but if you're wanting to just run like a 24/7 necessarily thing, then if you're not there directly interacting like this, I don't think it makes a difference. Because even for me, when I was doing Twitch and YouTube, I could still. I'm just streaming straight to YouTube right now. Um, but yeah, I mean, as far as I know, like there might be a better one, but from my experience, it worked for me. And like I said, yeah, because what it does is that you stream it directly to them, and then they send it out to separate ones. I think you probably obviously you have to give. I remember you give permission to you have to give permission to that site to be able to log in or something to like your different ones. I think it creates. I think it would have. I think it puts one of those like bots or something in your room or something. But like I don't. And any of these things they're gonna monitor some bullshit no matter what. But like I don't think it's any kind of nefariousness. But that's what I use and it worked for me. Yeah, here I see something where you upgrade. Like I used the free one. They got a standard monthly one. You can do stream to 5 channels. Yeah, it's got other stuff. Stream recordings. There might be a limit on like the free one. Like I said, just look into it. I don't know if you're willing to pay anything, but like with the free one, I know I had streams like I don't know if it changes if you're doing 24 hours. I don't know if you have to sign up or something, but like the free one worked for me. But like it seems like it has other options if you're willing to do that. Like I said, other than that, like I said, there's only two things I tried was I just set it up in two separate programs or I use this site. This site's easier because this way you only have to have one OBS running, you know, because there's like I think it's Streamlabs OBS is basically the same as OBS. It might have some different stuff. I don't even know if I still have it downloaded. Oh, also Twitch has. This is what I was using. Twitch has. Give me 1 second. Also, I want to make sure it doesn't show anything. Yeah, this is a different. This is called Twitch Studio. I don't know if you can stream to like a different. But it's pretty much just like OBS. You can always do that. I don't know if you can stream. It just kind of you can kind of incorporate all your shit. Like it has like you can set up like without having to go outside. Like use like Stream Elements or Streamlabs. It has where you can add in like alerts, stuff like that, like directly from this. But it's got like add scene. Pick your all your stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's. I don't know if you know. There's some controversy because OBS is open source, right? And you can build upon it and stuff like that. Streamlabs took OBS, built upon it. I don't think they ever. There was a big hullabaloo about it, um, where they just basically took OBS and they called it Streamlabs OBS. So a lot of people got mad because they kept calling they kept the OBS to it. So I think most of all of these are built off the back of OBS. It's kind of like a lot of if you're not an Apple phone, a lot of them took the Android operating system and make their own out of it. Because I mean at the core, or I think Android might even be based off of like a Linux kernel at some point. You know. Yeah, I used this one at first when I just started streaming to Twitch because it had kind of everything incorporated in Twitch. But like, yeah, I think this one, like, it's Twitch Studio, and then like I said, they had like you could do Streamlabs OBS. I think you could stream to any site with that. I think the restream's pretty good, especially if you're not worried about any kind of lag or if you don't mind everything. I think you can even title them separate, like if you want to have two different titles. The only thing I wouldn't be sure of, and like I said, look into it if you're planning on doing it. I don't know if there's like a time limit on the stream with Restream. Um, I know Destiny was restreaming to Twitch and YouTube at one point. I don't know how he was doing it. If he was just using Restream, the site, or if he had some other way of doing it. At times I have been. At times I haven't. I just teach myself all this stuff. Like I taught myself how to do Photoshop stuff. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Stream settings. I'm just trying to see if you could do. It's been a while since I used this one, so. But the only good thing with this one, it has a lot of shit kind of built into it, like especially that you can use directly on Twitch. I just don't know. I just don't know. Yeah, because like you can even go in here and mess with your like VOD settings, like in this one program. I think the only thing I think you'd have to use um I don't think there's a way to put in a different stream key. I think it just loads straight to your like it connects straight to your Twitch account. But like Streamlabs OBS, like I think you could probably put a stream key in for something different. But that's what I did at first. This is before I knew that website I gave you that link to existed. But from what I remember, when I used it, that was when I first started doing the streaming on Twitch. It was just easier. Like it had like a lot like if you need something like simple, but if you can use regular OBS, if you don't have any problems with that, then you should have no problem with doing using the Restream site, assuming they don't place a limit on bandwidth or time or something like that. I was trying to see if there was a. Oh, there might be. Oh, I don't know. It looks like there might be a. I'm looking at it now, and like on some of the where you pay, where you pay, the quality might be the quality might not be as good or something like that. Like you might not can stream like 1080 or something. I would like to say yes, but my only downside right now is like I gotta like if it was something I could do in like spare time, I could probably do it. My only thing is now I have to go get a real job where I'm gonna have to work like 8 hours plus a day. And I'd also be honest with you, I've never done a anything that's like been up for 24 hours at all times. So I don't know. I'm assuming there could possibly be interruptions like in general. I definitely could help you get it set up or something if you wanted to like we could talk about it like setting it up like I just don't want to tell you I could do it and then not be able to. You know what I'm saying? Because I've never streamed like because I imagine in your case what you'd be doing would be you'd be streaming like a video like you would have the video already edited like where it's so long or something or like music like I know there's that girl like well I don't know if she's a real girl but like that was it lo-fi beats person that streams on YouTube all the time where they have like a continuous stream because I haven't done anything like that. I've only done like the live stream like this or like playing games. But I know like when I put up like here like the starting screen, there's just like a video like and you can put that straight in OBS and that's not a problem. Like I could put like I'm sure I could put I can't do it right now. I don't think I have any videos that wouldn't get me banned off YouTube. But like you could put something like that up in it. Yeah, I'm open and to give it a try. And I'll figure it out. I just don't want you to think I know everything about it, but like I can learn about it fairly easily. And then like with some of the background stuff that I already know, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, do you use like Discord or anything? Because like, or I could give you my email, but like, do you remember when YouTube used to send messages through YouTube a long time ago? Now you can't do that except like comments. Like you could used to send like private messages through YouTube, or there's Twitter also. You could always DM me on Twitter. I don't know if there's probably not a limit on Twitter on how long you can write. But if you have Discord or anything like that, I can show you my Discord. Yeah, throw your link in. I'll see if I can. I don't really use Instagram too much. I look at it on my phone sometimes. I don't use it on a computer. Throw me your or tell me your. Is it just JKD Animator? I mean, you might not want to put it in chat. I don't know if it's well. No, I'm sure if you have an Instagram, it's not private, right? If you throw me a link up, I'll go check. All right, let me see. I might just send you one. I don't even know if I'm signed in on the computer. I'm just gonna make sure this is yours. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm gonna put it up on screen. It's just your page. It's not like that's the right one. Oh, you do TikTok too? I thought about getting. I had an idea for TikTok. Um, we could talk about some stuff in private too. But like something I was thinking about doing. Okay, let me see. Let me pull this back over here. I'm not gonna. Like I said, I don't use Instagram much to be honest with you. I probably follow you. I don't know if you have to. I know like on Twitter you have to like follow the person to message them or whatever. Okay, it's got my other. Let me see. Oops. I sent you a message. I don't know. Let me know. I just sent like a test message just to make sure you got it. Oh, you can do calls and shit through here. I didn't even know you could do that with Instagram. All right, I see. Yeah, I know you can stream on I think you can do a live stream on TikTok also. I don't know if you'd be interested in that as well. I'd have to look into that. I only know a little bit about. I mean, I know about TikTok, but like I've never like streamed on there. I posted some videos on there. I think with TikTok you have to do. I think you had to do like because Destiny was talking about it. His dude was setting his TikTok up. You had to live stream like directly from your computer. Then you were able to do it from somewhere else afterwards or something. You had to stream like so long. And I don't even know if that's something you'd be necessarily interested in either, but just a back of the mind thing. Because I would say, do you know who Ninja is? Or have you ever heard of him? Let me see. Yeah, I put myself on mute while I was listening to your clips because I didn't think you necessarily wanted to have any of that come forward. I don't know if I could send you a voice message through right now on Instagram because like I said, that's like you don't use like Twitch or I mean Twitter or Discord or anything. Those are the things I use. So I've never used Instagram for that. I had to make sure figure it out the voice thing. I could I can get WhatsApp or something if that works good for you, and we could have like a have a talk where we could talk like instead of sending like a little bit of clips back and forth because I don't want to put anything out in public to if you know what I mean, like for both not necessarily sakes, but you know what I'm saying. I don't want to put anything out publicly that you don't want out publicly, if you know what I mean. And then like the time difference. What time is it where you're at right now? Just so we could figure out like a good time to have like a talk. Because like everything you said sounded good to me. So 10 p.m. there. Okay. Well, that's not you're not super duper late because here it's yeah it's about six. Okay, it's 6 hours difference. Okay, because it's almost four here. So yeah, like finding a time to talk, the time difference wouldn't be as that big a deal for me. I could talk to you earlier in the day. Uh, I probably ain't gonna have time to do it today. Actually, I need to go. I was actually originally I was just gonna stream for a little bit, and give my shitty life update, and then I was about to cook me something to eat. So I was gonna probably do that in a little bit. Oh, okay, yeah, we can figure that out. Um, I could definitely look into some stuff like on my downtime. That's all I have right now. I could look into some like stuff like and get some ideas for some stuff and see because I get what you're saying without putting much out there. Um, I would look some of the logistics up that I know how to do because it also at the end of the day I don't want to tell you I can do something or know how to do something that I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to come off like, oh yeah, man, I could this is easy. I got this, no problem. I don't want you to have. I don't want to give you any kind of false. Um, I don't want to say hope's not the word. I don't want to give you any false sense of what I know how to do and don't know how to do. Like the streaming stuff, I've watched enough streaming people and I've done streaming stuff, especially in the last year or so. I kind of know like a lot of the basic stuff and some of the stuff you talked about, like in the little voice thing, without giving anything away. I know some of that stuff would be pretty. I don't want to say easy to set up, but is very feasible. Like there, it's just because it's a little different than what I've done. I want to look into your idea is very feasible. I want to get that clear. I know that much. You know. Yeah, I'm trying to be. I'm like always like a straight shooter kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I always am. Like I don't ever want to come off like if I helped you with this, especially if there was any kind of monetary thing for sure. And that wasn't even necessarily what I was saying. Like I'll tell you without spoiling anything too much. Being in like a ground floor of something is really interesting to me because like with what cloud not I'm sorry, I'm like you don't keep up with this shit, but there's been a bunch of like streamer cloud drama lately. I'm not trying to get no clout off of you per se, but as you said, you have some clout based on your YouTube subscriptions and what you have on your Twitch. I mean, not Twitch. I don't know. Do you even have a Twitch channel that you use? Um, I would suggest if you don't have a Twitch channel yet, I would try to skip. I would try for you to make sure you get one where you want to kind of have a name if you don't already have your name on there. Which if you're using this one or if you want to rebrand it with like a different name, try to get that just so it's not gone or anything. I know on Twitch you can change your name if it's available. I think after a certain amount of time you can change it again if you wanted to. But yeah, like I'm saying, with like what you said in your call, like you have like some clout is the internet word. What? There's a real word I'm trying to think of. Sorry. What's it when you have like say you own equity? You have equity, so yeah. I mean, it might not be gone, but it would be good to see if you can get like especially if you a screen, even if you never use it, if you snap it up, just to make sure you have like a one that goes with your brand. That's the one thing I've also learned. I've never been able to myself. I know a lot of this shit, like having a brand, like something that you can that kind of flows, and maybe you know some of this too. I'm not trying to down talk her to you or anything, but like having like something where, say you're on Twitch and they see like a certain icon you always use, they can associate that with YouTube, or they can associate that with TikTok or wherever you want to do. Um, and you can also, yeah, but like I was saying earlier, like being on the ground floor or something is really interesting to me to like build something. I like that idea. Uh, I liked your the way you presented it to me. Like I don't expect to be like, oh yeah, you're X Y and you're like 50-50 partner or some shit like that. No, nothing like that. But like where where you say like, hey, you're on the ground floor, we make something of it. It's kind of like I actually it kind of reminded me. This is what Jeff Bezos did, similar when he originally did like Amazon. He hired in people, and he couldn't necessarily pay them that much to start with. But what he did is he gave them like equity in the company. So like in his case, I guess it would be called shares. And this is just me just saying stuff. I'm not asking for nothing. I'm not trying to change. Give you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to give you like this is what I want. This isn't what anything like that. Or even if I want anything, I'm definitely interested in helping you out. I know you're a cool dude. You've been around. I watched your shit when you sent it to like your skits with your Dragon Ball fights and all that kind of stuff. Um, I will say one thing. Shit, you know what? I think we really need to talk. Like, I won't be able to do it today, and obviously it's later in your time. But before I say too much, I would like we should talk and just like logistics shit come out like and then because I got a lot of stuff going through my head about just after what you said in the Instagram voice call thing and just like ideas and things. Even if we don't do any work, we're not able to do any work together on this or anything like this. I don't mind sharing you with any of my ideas because, like, if they can help you, I'd be all. I think that'd be great because I think you're a pretty cool dude and everything like that. And all our interactions. Like, obviously, we don't know each other. Like, like, hey, this is my best friend for 30 years. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I think on the premise of your idea, it sounds intriguing, and I think it could be something. I also don't. I also would like to look and see if anybody else has anything similar. You know, not to steal nothing from them, but sometimes it's also good to get like an inspiration or like just like how it worked out for them. Because sometimes when people, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. I don't know if you were in here. I was talking about like blog TV and like Stickam and all this other shit. A lot of stuff like had a great premise, but for some reason they didn't execute right. But I think maybe some people like if you learn not to steal nothing from nobody else, but like if they try to do something even similar and you learn about like where they may have failed or they lacked in execution, to me that's going to give you a step up to avoid some of those mistakes somebody else has already made. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you do anything, especially new or something you haven't done before, you're going to make mistakes. Yeah, 100% learning. So that's things I would definitely want to look into before we talk because I'm just curious. Just off the little snippets you gave me, I'm kind of curious because, like I said earlier, even if somebody did something before and it didn't work out for them, doesn't mean it was a bad idea. So if there was things that we know that didn't work out well, or even if you don't necessarily know 100% why, even you making one less mistake than the previous person is going to make it so much better for you. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. But like, yeah, we'll figure it out. Like, yeah, but yeah, we should definitely talk. I'm definitely interested in figuring it out.
This in my head right now, I'm interested in just helping. I'm not even thinking about like a monetary thing like in my head right now or nothing like that. Just being real with you, because it just sounds interesting. Like you can tell, like you can tell. I don't know if I'm coming off excited, but like it actually got me thinking about stuff and like just ideas, and I like kind of like that. So just even brainstorming something, even if say we don't work together or it doesn't go beyond just that, definitely interested in talking to you about where we can like actually talk, and like not in public either, because I mean there's things like I don't necessarily have nothing to hide, and I'm not saying you have nothing to hide, but if you're trying to create something, yeah, I agree. Like I just wanted to make it clear, like I like your basic premise of your idea. I like that. I like that idea. Um, I like some of the like tangential ideas that you mentioned in your call, or I don't even know if you want to count as your voice messages or whatever. Um, like what you're looking to do makes sense. I think it would be good. Like you can add branding. Um, I'd have to think. I don't even mean to try to come off negative. Like you brought up other stuff, and like I would just have to see that stuff, or something like that. That's something we could talk about. Just because in my head, like I know what you do, but then you brought up some other stuff, and I was like, I didn't know how you were necessarily going to incorporate that. You might have a 100% idea of that, and you didn't necessarily have the time to explain it over like a little voice memo thing. Um, but I could see in my head, I kind of get like some of this. There's definitely one thing you said I know would work really well and would not be that hard to set up, because a lot of it, some of the stuff already exists. You know, some of the logistics of it, I would need to look into specifically. I don't think none of your ideas, from my opinion, as my small amount of expertise, seem infeasible. Like you just have to figure some of them out. I think. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I don't know. It seems like you're a little bit. You got the idea, and maybe you even have a little bit of planning stages in it from why you said it. But now we'd be moving into like how to implement that, and I think that would be really cool, and it could be a totally different thing also too. Like if it's different enough and it has appeal, um, that could be something that would make a difference. Because as you know, like anything, like there's hardly any real new ideas out there. And I'm not trying to kiss your ass or nothing about this, because there's everything is based off something else, like I said earlier. But if you can twist something just a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like, or tweak off of something else, then it can be like a whole separate thing. I don't know if that makes sense or not. But yeah, dude, it sounds really cool. Like I said, like I said, I'm not bullshitting you either. Like I don't necessarily get go rah rah rah, but like, cause in my head, like I've watched and I've been around. True, true. Like it in my head, like I'm thinking about like steps even further. Like, God, the way I'm saying this is sounding like I'm like trying to sell you on something. Trust me, I'm not. I'm just trying to. That's why I never wanted to be a salesman. I hate being a salesman, because like part of me is like I don't want to ever give any kind of false thing. But like there's things that click through my head, like that makes sense. That would work well, just from what I've seen from being around, like not in person, but being around like YouTube for so long, being involved with some Twitch stuff, seeing what other, because I watched a lot of this stuff too. Um, Most of the live streamers I watch, most of them do kind of like this. Yeah. Like, and this is just ideas. Like I don't right now. I couldn't say I know. Like, well, some of the stuff you mentioned, like I basically know how you would be able to implement that with hardly any problems. But like some of my other back end things in my brain are like I don't know how, but it would be cool if we could do. which I guess is probably where you started at with your idea. Is like, this is a good idea. Because to be real with you, streaming has become bigger, not necessarily bigger than like YouTube, but it's become a thing. And also, I got so many things like in my head. I'm sorry. But yeah, we definitely need to talk. I'm definitely down for talking. And like any idea that I have or anything I think of or whatever, if you think's dumb or don't agree with, I'm not gonna be like pushing it. Because like in my head right now, like I just thought right then I was gonna say something else, but then I didn't want to say it like out in public. Not that there's that many people here. You might just be the only person here right now, but this gets recorded, so I don't necessarily, want something to come out of something that's not. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, something else clicked in my head too, where I think that with the idea you have, you could also use it in other kind of in other ways at the same time, like almost like getting like not necessarily double your money for it, but getting like you put in X work, but you can use that same work in a different way. And you might even do this already, but like just in my head. But yeah, like a lot of things, a lot of streamers I watch, they basically they're on camera like this, or they're playing games and they're talking or whatever. Some do other different kind of stuff. Like some people do like panels, or some people do every shit like that. Yeah, even if you do something else, you might could use the same product, but use it in a different market. If that makes sense, you see what I'm saying? Like the idea that you have, if we get it implemented and we figure everything out, that's one thing I want to come off clear. Like figure that out. Like nothing is figured out right now in my head. Like because like I said, like I'm in a weird spot because this really intrigues me and I like it. And yeah. So like in one side of my mind, I'm thinking about ideas like creative and like marketing wise, and I'm also thinking like logistics, like how to actually implement them, which actually I think is good because if you had an idea, like say, I was talking earlier, say I had the idea of doing like Twitch when I was in college, there was no way to implement that, right? So being able to see an idea and seeing if it's implementable, if that's a word, or how you can implement it, and seeing that that's a possibility, that actually that helps you out because it keeps you from being too much on just the idea. Like I'm sure people have had ideas of shit, like if you go back in history, like people like Edison or like even Da Vinci, like they had ideas for stuff that became feasible, but it wasn't feasible at that time because they just didn't have all the other stuff to make it feasible. So if you want to make it something and make it real, you have to have like the feasibility of it plus the idea. Like anybody can have the greatest idea in the world. Like, oh man, I would love to have a fucking teleporter. I don't know if that's ever feasible, but I know for a fact it's not feasible right now, right? So let's scrap that idea and go to something that is doable. That way you're not wasting ideas and putting any effort into something that couldn't be. But I want to make it clear, I believe your idea, like on the base level, is very feasible. Very, 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 very feasible. That's why I also wanted to look and see if anybody has done anything similar and how successful they have or haven't been. And that's kind of what I was going back to with your clout or your equity that you already have as an established creator. And that if somebody, even if they had the greatest idea, if they had to start it from like super ground level, it's going to be way harder to get up to a successful level versus somebody who starts at like a middle level to go up to the next level. And I think that's what you're going for. You want to get to the next level. You have a good level, but you want to get to the next level. Then, of course, there's all kinds of other I don't know. You also look at like marketability for everything aside from just the platform you're on. Um, I don't know if you do any kind of like other sponsorships or something like that. I know Twitch. Sometimes if they see you're successful, they'll reach out to you, and sometimes they offer like they have like this one program. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that for sure. I got to figure out what keywords to kind of search and go on Twitch and see. Like I said, the only thing that popped off was like that lo-fi girl, but yours is still different than that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about, like the study music girl or whatever that's on YouTube, where it's just like a little anime girl and they just plays like lo-fi music under like in the background. And then also, you want this to be economically feasible as well, like monetarily is also. So also I'll have to look. I'm gonna look into that as well. That would be the only issue I think we would have, because I know Twitch doesn't have this yet, but YouTube, if YouTube has uh, you know how I'm sure you've gotten this before where you get your something has been put in their system where it reads it automatically as copyright, and it'll like either most of the time they don't take it down in that case, but it'll be like this has been, they're going to take your ad revenue or whatever from it. um but I know YouTube they have that in live stream form, because if I put up a video right now. Okay. 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 I was just letting you know that that was a thing that they do even on live streams on YouTube. Twitch, I don't think they have that. They would only have that if you if you saved a VOD. Oh, okay. 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 Yeah, like I said, I'm just spitballing idea like things that come to mind that I didn't know if you're necessarily aware of or aren't. Yeah, and like I said, I don't know exactly on. I know they have like reels on Insta. I don't know. I know a little bit about TikTok, so I don't know. I don't even know how they monetize TikTok. Do they do ads on TikTok? I don't know. I sometimes I'll get in like a little scroll every once in a while. But like I said, what I brought up with Ninja, he's a streamer. He started on Twitch. He now has a thing where he's like streaming like to a bunch of different sites at one time. He plays games and shit, but like it's a similar idea. Um, he's really established. No offense to you, but like he's like super. He's been in like movies and like commercials and like makes millions of dollars. Not to say that you don't, but like he's like streaming to Twitch, YouTube. I think he's doing Facebook Live, maybe even TikTok. So like taking one creative thing and like even in like you spread it out, like you're getting more bang for the buck, if you know what I'm saying. So that's a possibility. And then obviously some things might be implementable later. You know, like if you get it going and everything is running good, then you can spread out, because yeah, that's the thing I need to cut, because I'm excited about this, but like in my head I'm like, if you spread fuck, sorry, if you expand too much too quickly it can fuck you up also. So but like that's what I'm saying, like in my head I see like opportunities even beyond the start, you know what I'm saying. That's how I'm thinking in my head. But yeah, dude, definitely We'll figure out how to get in contact. You can download that WhatsApp. You can download like an app on your phone or something, right? I'm sure you can do it. You can use it on a computer or something, right? I haven't used it. I've used stuff similar. Yeah, agree. I gotta go fix me something to eat. I'm starving. But yeah, definitely. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Like I said, I'm gonna look into some stuff probably tonight. I can get on because I can do like three things at once. I can like be watching something and I can get and do like some research at the same time. And I'll probably open up like a notepad or a Word doc or something like that and write down ideas. So that way I have them. I have ideas or shit like where I can recall it right then and there, as opposed to like spitballing in my brain. But yeah, definitely shoot me a message. I'll look at getting that. It's a WhatsApp, right? I'll look at getting that on my phone or on the computer or both. And I might do it on the computer. It'd be easier for me because that way I can just talk, put my headset on. I can just look at shit and everything. But yeah, definitely cool idea. I appreciate you um, thinking I would be helpful to it. All right, I'll talk to you later then. Okay. Yeah, dude, I feel you. I think you can tell like this is like a good. You gave me like a little pickup too. Like I'm kind of depressed. So like something that I would. That's the thing. I don't. There's stuff I got to do. I don't want to do, but this I would like to do. So I'm more excited about it. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you too. I'm probably gonna end the stream. You got to go, man. Have a good night. Send me a message on Instagram, or I'll send you a message later, and I can send you. I'll get that WhatsApp, and we can go from there and talk through that. I think he left. All right, I'm gonna call it. Nobody else is here. Very productive. I'm glad I brought the stream on today. Some productive shit came out of it. I'm feeling a bit better right now than I was. Uh, yeah. So that's that. Have a good one. I gotta fix me something to eat.